The crazy thing is that the amount of money that Troy would have been paid on that one credit from my purchase, instead of getting the 50% of that credit toward his book, he now has to split that with every other book that's in the pool.
Yeah, exactly like KDP. And just to let you know, we don't get 50% of that credit.
No, you never do.
We never have.
Nope.
And anyone who tells you that story works for Audible, apparently, um,
Yeah. So,
because that's not true.
but now you
It's,
don't even get as
oh,
high as that credit royalty that you used to get. Now it's split. Welcome to Pros Talking to Pros, everybody. Pros talking to pros, pros talking
pros
pros.
talking to pros, pros
Well, yeah,
talking about
whatever. We're
pros.
pros talking pros. And this is Troy, the illustrious, and Stacy, the mediocre, and we are here to visit with you about all things books and publishing and business. So the reason we are talking today is because one, we talk every week, Troy. It's a pattern we've kind of fallen into, but
Mhm.
there was a there was some, it's not big news, it's big news for me, and it's definitely something that I feel like I need to reach out on my clients to and kind of let them know. But it came to light because for the first time in years, and maybe the gosh, out of the handful of clients that I ever have that are ever dissatisfied with my business, I had my fourth complaint. And I'm not going to count her as a complaint. I think that she's just is an overall complainer. But one of the things that she mentioned was that she wasn't going to refer me to anybody or talk to anybody about me anymore because she had a really bad experience with Findaway Voices. And she said that specifically it was because her book was very, very slow in moving over to Findaway Voices. Now, she's not the first one to complain to me about that. I've had clients complained to me a couple times
Mhm.
about Findaway and how slow it's getting over to Audible. The thing
Mhm.
is, and I feel like this needs to be said right out of the gate, it's not Findaway Voices' fault, guys. When Findaway Voices Spotify gets a hold of your audiobook files, they are sending that processed file out to all its distributors, i.e., the stores like Apple Books
Mhm.
and Google Books and whoever else it's sending it to, sending them all out there at the same time. They are not out of spite hanging onto your file and waiting to send it because they're greedy little monsters and don't want you to make money. That's not what happens because they want you to make money, people. Their goal is to make money off of your book. So they
Yeah.
send that file out as soon as possible. And it's Audible, guys, that's having the hang up. And there's a couple of reasons why. And Troy and I'm sure we can speculate about this and we'll talk about this a little bit, but there's
Oh,
some
yeah.
things
I
that
have
go into
some
this. Yeah.
a little bit of insider information.
Yeah.
It's
We can
not
talk about
terribly
that.
like secret, but
No, it's not
it's
secret. Anybody can
insider
Google this.
information.
Yeah.
Um,
But we
yeah,
could
I mean,
also,
or you
let's
can
talk
talk to
about,
people if
yeah, you
people
can
like to
talk to
talk.
people.
Yeah.
But there's also another side of this that I kind of want to let people know that we're going to talk about in this video because it's very, very important. And that is the new rollout of Audible's um memberships that it's going to be selling to consumers that is going to ding the author's pocket, and they're trying to put a spin on it that it's the best thing for these authors to be part of this Prime membership, whatever. But I promise you guys, this is not good news. So if you're
Is
planning on
this
going
Spotify rolling it out or
no,
Amazon? Are
no,
you
this
talking
is
about
Audible. This is ACX, Audible,
ACX Audible?
Amazon.
Yes, Audible. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was going to say
so if
Spotify. Well, we'll talk about
we'll
that,
talk
but
about
it's
that,
not.
but
Yeah, we
you
just
guys
want to be
should
clear which one we're
know.
talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, this is ACX. So I'm talking about
yeah.
this because it's still the largest, but I need you guys to understand as you get into this video why what you're hanging around for is to find out why you do not want to be exclusive with Amazon or anybody for that matter, but especially with Amazon. Um, so let's first go into the ins and outs of why Amazon might be a little intimidated about Spotify right now. What's going on with
Well,
Spotify, Troy?
so Spotify. Spotify is doing some interesting things. First of all, Spotify is rising in audiobook popularity. And part of the reason is if you have a Spotify premium membership, which many people do, because what you do is then you get Spotify music commercial free, right?
Right.
So, and the top two music platforms right now are really Apple Music or Spotify. It depends on which phone you're on and which one you prefer to listen
Mm-hmm.
to, right? Because both of them do similar things. They have music recommendations. It used to be, what was that other one? Um, Gosh, there was another one for years that kind of was a big deal, and then Apple and Spotify just kind of took over the
Well, I know
streaming service
Microsoft
for music.
Music had something for a while.
Wasn't there
You
one
could get stuff
called,
on
was it
Microsoft.
Pandora or something like that? What was that called? Or
Might have
something?
been.
I don't
It
remember.
might have
Anyway,
been. There was
whatever it
multiples out
was,
there for a while.
it's kind of gone down the way, and Apple and Spotify have taken over, even though Amazon Music is trying to make inroads. But I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a music nut, just to put that out there up front. Um, and the Amazon Music algorithms stink from my experience. So I do not like them at all. They don't recommend music that I like. If I ask them for
Hmm.
music that I like, it's something wackadoodle that I'm really not interested in. So anyway, but and that's music is a whole different discussion for another day. But
Right.
except that it's exactly like when we talked to Johnny, he said the same thing. Damon from Book Funnel talks about it a lot.
Hmm.
And it's if you just watch the pattern, it's proven true, is that books and authors are following musician and music about 5 years behind the music industry. The book industry is headed kind of the same direction, which is good for us and not good for us at the same
Right.
time. But probably the most important thing is to understand that Spotify is making major inroads. And if you have a Spotify premium membership, you get a certain number of minutes or hours, something of book listening as a
Right.
part of that. Okay. Now, for authors, what that means is your payout off of those minutes is a little bit lower than it would be. It's similar to KDP page reads, only it's higher than that, at least right now.
Hmm.
And Spotify has said that they have a pretty strong commitment to authors, and I believe that because of some of the changes that they've made recently. And I think one of the changes that they made, I think one of the reasons is Audible. But
Hmm.
anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Um, but so Spotify is making big inroads that way. Spotify is also making it easier for authors to upload their stuff to Spotify. The other thing that's happening in the audiobook world is AI narration. Okay. And it's going exactly as I predicted it about a year ago.
Yeah.
So, and that is that there are human narrated books, there are AI narrated books, and some people prefer one over the other, and some people don't care. AI books are generally cheaper. Human narrated books are more expensive. People opt for the one that they want, with an exception. The number one producer of AI narrated audiobooks is 11 Labs, and partly because you can clone your own voice and a whole bunch of stuff
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
And 11 Labs, their AI narration is accepted on more platforms than any other AI narration. And the
Hmm.
reason is the quality. Okay. It's
Hmm.
just plain and simple the quality. You can do multiple voices, there's all kinds of things you can do with it. That's a whole different discussion. But Spotify is accepting their narration and certain other AI narrations based on quality, right?
Hmm.
So, as an author, if you're looking to produce audiobooks and do it on an AI level, on a level with AI, first of all, let me tell you that this does not put narrators out of business and producers out of business. It does not. It changes their business model. But if you are going to go through and produce an AI narrated audiobook that has any quality at all, you are going to spend several hours tweaking the voices, editing, editing the words and pronunciations, all of that kind of stuff. Like it is an extensive project if you're going to produce a high quality AI narrated audiobook. You can do cheap one-off quickies. They're terrible, to be honest with you. AI mispronounces names and mispronounces all kinds of stuff,
Oh, they'll
and
and
it's a
they'll
mess.
they'll
It's a
they'll not
mess.
only mispronounce names, but they'll mispronounce names inconsistently.
Hmm.
So
So
you may
people won't
hear,
know who that is. And
yeah,
anyway,
it'll be
there's
Sean
all
in
kinds
one
of
sentence and
wackadoodle
Sion
stuff
in another.
beyond the next. Yeah, it's just
Yeah, it's
AI.
awful.
That part of the AI narration, it still requires a tremendous amount of editing and focus on your part or on
Right,
the part of a sound engineer or a narrator who knows what they're doing. So
right.
yes, there it is possible to create AI narrated audiobooks that are high quality and good. It still takes a tremendous amount of time. You're either going to do it yourself as an author or you're going to pay somebody to do it for you. Okay, same as you're going to pay a narrator to read your book for you if you're going to do human narration, whatever the case may be.
I'm going to
Anyway,
always recommend going, I mean, first and foremost to a human when you're doing fiction.
mhm,
If you're going to consider AI as a choice, I would say if you've got a nonfiction, okay. But really, like Troy is saying, like it is a hit or miss kind of thing, and you're always gonna get something much
yeah.
better quality with a
Well,
human
yeah.
narrator.
And the only way you're going to get extremely high quality with fiction is to spend hours on the AI.
Yep.
And if you are not, let me just preface it. It's like saying AI will allow you to create great book covers for some people, right? But here's the kicker that goes with that. Like, no matter what, you still need to know what you're doing about graphic design
Yep.
because AI will not make it perfect. AI will make mistakes, all that kind of stuff. Stacey and I have experienced this. AI is a great way to get a concept for a cover and then go from there and make an actual cover, right?
Yeah.
But it's rarely produces anything right out of the gate, out of AI that is usable, even for just a background image, right? You
Hmm.
have to do something with it. Okay. So we both experienced this. It's the same thing with AI narration. AI narration will not produce something out of the gate without human editing. And if you don't know about narration and inflection and enunciation and pronunciation and all of those things, you will produce a crap product with AI narration, the same as you would if you narrate it yourself and you don't know about those things. So the skills are still necessary. In fact, I was just reading Steph Pajonas. This is a little bit off topic, but I'll bring it
Hmm.
back, I promise. Was talking about writing with AI and saying the same thing that I've been saying all along. The
Hmm.
craft is the craft. If you don't know the craft of writing, what you produce with AI will be crap because it will reflect your knowledge of the craft of writing.
Right.
AI in all of these things is a partner, it is not a replacement. So
Exactly.
but Spotify is expanding but it is expanding AI use in narration by checking quality. So if you produced one of those quickie Amazon, I just clicked a button and they produced an AI narration of my book, Spotify is not going to accept that. It's not going to go onto their platform.
Good.
Okay. Um, but the other thing Spotify has done, and this will relate to the Audible that you want to talk about, and I promise I'll stop going off like crazy like this, but um it's a big deal because I discovered it this weekend and it was kind of frustrating at first, but then I understand the reasons behind it. So previously with Findaway Voices, you uploaded your audio, your cover, all your metadata and everything, and it went to Spotify and other retailers, right? And they had spun off in June this platform called Spotify for Authors, right? And that was really
Hmm.
your dashboard, right? And then Findaway was your dashboard for other retailers. Well, what happened on August 1st, which was this last weekend when they fully split, and I knew this because I had audio to upload on August 1st. So I was waiting for the split to actually happen, right? I didn't up actually uploading it till August 2nd, but that's a whole other story. Um, but what happens is now you have to upload your audiobook to Spotify for Authors for Spotify only.
Okay.
And then you must upload it to in audio for all the other retailers. So they become two separate things. Spotify doesn't talk to Inaudible and Inaudible doesn't talk to Spotify, right? Which
Okay.
seems silly because technically they're the same company. They're owned by the same company. However, Amazon, I think, is seeing Spotify as an up and coming competitor to Audible.
Hmm.
So I think when you were uploading your audio to Spotify, that Amazon, not individual people at Amazon, but the Amazon algorithms, you have to understand how Audible works. Those people sitting there they get a queue. on their computer,
Mm-hmm.
and they go through that queue and they approve it, whatever order it comes in on that queue.
Mm-hmm.
But in the background is
A
computers and other
computer.
things making decisions about what comes onto my desk, right?
Mm-hmm.
That system was deprioritizing Findaway because it was related to Spotify, and Spotify is a competitor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even though Apple and other retailers understand that really what's happening with Spotify is also, and in Audible, is they're getting more content than they would otherwise because people aren't going to go direct there. But ACX has always had this stranglehold on direct and
Yeah,
this
they
stranglehold
want
on being
everyone to
exclusive. They
be
want you to be
exclusive.
exclusive if at
Exactly.
all possible. So they want to tout benefits of you being exclusive, but there are no benefits. But anyway, especially when it comes to audiobooks, less and less when it comes to ebooks too, except for a few
Mm-hmm.
niche genres. But okay. So anyway, going off of all of
So
that.
yeah.
So yeah, so what's happening, I think, is they spun
So
off in audio because now it's a separate company from Spotify, even though it's technically owned by Spotify. Will we see faster uploads to Audible? I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
And here's why. And
Maybe
I think you touched on it is it's prioritizing those who are choosing to
go
be
direct,
direct and also be
exclusive.
exclusive. And you could still go direct and still do the whole I'm going to upload these to all these individual stores, and that's a hassle. The
Oh,
reason a lot of
yes.
self-published authors choose to use these aggregators or these people that distribute for you is because it allows you to have that all in one place. And yes, there's a little cut that they take, but it is relatively small. I
Hmm.
will say that Audible holds the record and continues to be the champion of not paying authors fairly. And I'm not saying that out of hand or to be mean. It is just the facts. They are paying still in their current new rollout of royalties. They are still not even matching the standard industry payout for audiobooks. Just so you know, it sounds like it's a great deal, but you need to understand that it's not. So
No.
even
Oh
if you
no.
go exclusive to audio or to ACX or to Audible, you are still getting the lowest royalty rate that is being paid to authors in the industry. So, just FYI, this is what they rolled out on July 11th. Audible said, and I'm going to read this direct from their website. It says, as Audible continues to grow our catalog and serves millions of listeners globally, we are constantly thinking about how we can innovate to meet evolving needs of audiobook lovers, authors, and publishers. We are now rolling
What a
out
load.
yeah, we are now rolling out a new royalty model that prioritizes equity, flexibility, and insight for creators. One that evolved out of ongoing conversations with authors and publishers. Who out there talked to Audible? I want to know who these people are because I seriously doubt it that they
Oh, well,
talked
there
to
are. No,
any
there
self-published
are.
authors. They reached out to
Yes.
self-published authors.
If
Okay.
they have big
Who?
names.
Okay.
Yeah. If
Okay.
they have
Okay.
big names.
I
So
would
we're
like to
talking
meet
people
them.
that have
I would like to know who they
50
are.
or more books
I
exclusive to Audible.
I would
So yeah, I could,
exclusive, right? Oh yeah, we're going to
yes.
talk to our favorites. Okay,
Yeah,
so and that
always.
advances yeah, and so it says one that evolved out of ongoing conversations with authors and publishers and that advances our creator-centric ethos.
Yes.
Under this model, creators are able to monetize more types of content, and listeners will get to discover more innovative storytelling. That to me is just a word salad. Let me just explain what's happening. They're putting everybody into two different kinds of purchasing categories. You can now be a premium plus or a plus Audible member, right? So I currently have an Audible subscription. I just admit it.
Oh,
It's the easy one, right? But so they now have a premium plus and a plus members plan that they're going to offer to clients or to Audible customers. You can be in the premium plus pool of books, which is an offering of books that readers can have unlimited access to once they purchase their credit for the month. So say I purchase, and I this is the way I understand it. It may not be a perfect example. I will have a link to a guy who explains it with a whiteboard and does a great job. But basically, what the way I'm understanding it is that if you apply and you're accepted as a premium plus author, your book will go in this pile of featured books, basically, to readers like myself. I can go in there and I can purchase my with my credit, my monthly credit that I'm accrued, that I accrue each month. I can go in and I can purchase one of Troy's books on my premium plus plan. And then what it does is it opens up this pool of books that I can also access unlimited, which I can then look at and I can read them as much as I want. The crazy thing is that the amount of money that Troy would have been paid on that one credit from my purchase, instead of getting the 50% of that credit toward his book, he now has to split that with every other book that's in the pool.
Yeah, exactly like KDP. And just to let you know, we don't get 50% of that credit.
No, you never do.
We never have.
Nope.
And anyone who tells you that story works for Audible, apparently, um,
Yeah. So,
because that's not true.
but now you don't even get as
Oh,
high as that credit royalty that you used to get. Now it's split. Now you share it with everybody else who's in that pool that
right.
reader now gets access to. That is literally like, it is not helping authors. This is not an author centric focus at all. So here's what they say. Titles in Audible's membership offerings can now earn royalties. Audible's new royalty model means new opportunities for small publishers and independent authors to earn across all membership listening activity. Now, more titles, including those currently in Audible Plus, Audible's all you can listen offering, that's what the Audible Plus is the all you can listen offering, can generate royalty payments depending on the audiences that publishers and creators want to reach. There are new ways to monitor and promote content, which means more flexibility to reach listeners where they are. It is very much like the Kindle Unlimited plan, and it is going
Hmm.
to extend into audiobooks, and it's going to pay you less.
Yeah, this is the thing. Okay. So if we take a look at history and the way Kindle Unlimited worked initially page reads were pretty high. It was a pretty high number per page read. So typically, if you had the number of somebody read your entire book, right,
Mm-hmm.
you would make almost as much as if they bought that book.
Right.
So it was close, right? So people were like, see, it's close. It doesn't matter. But the more people that enter that pool, the pool gets bigger, but the pool is based on memberships,
Right.
right? So in the summertime, Kindle Unlimited tends to shrink. So what happens to page read payouts? They go down. Well,
Right.
what's going to happen to audiobooks? Audiobooks go up in the summertime and they're going to go down in the wintertime, right? But in order to be in this pool, you're going to have to be exclusive to Amazon. What that means is you are at the whim of Amazon
Yeah, you're
and
at the whim of
whatever's
their
happening with
promotion, whatever
Amazon and
they're,
their
yeah, however
promotion,
they're
their
promoting
platform.
you.
And
Exactly.
it is stupid. Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
a silly choice because the the how do I want to say this? So what happened with KDP is the pool got filled with lots and lots of people,
Mm-hmm.
and there also got to, and lots of crap books.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if someone goes in and reads a crap book and they read 10 pages of that book or 20 pages of that book, it starts to impact your payouts as an author who has something good. So somebody goes into one of those audiobooks, and let's say it's one of those Amazon AI created audiobooks that just sound like a robot read your book, right? And they listen for 3 minutes and they go, oh, okay, that's enough for me. I'm done with that, right? Okay. Now all of those little pieces add up to take money away from the authors that are doing it right.
Right.
So that's the problem. It's the exact same thing that happened with KDP, with written, with ebooks. It's going to happen again with
Yeah.
audiobooks.
So let
The
me
writing's
let
on the
me
wall.
read how Audible is saying they're going to pay out. And then, like I
Oh,
said, I'm going to credit this guy because he's the one that gave me the heads up on this. Daniel Greene. He published this on July 29th. And the title of this video is called "The Audible Situation Just Got Much Worse." The Audible situation got much worse. I'm going to go ahead and plug that you go listen to this guy. He does give a good explanation about what happens here, but I will show you guys. This is what Audible is saying. Audible says, how is the new royalty model calculated? Listen, folks, I'm
oh,
going to tell you. Audible takes a member's plan value plus or premium plus and adds the value of any additional credits used. Okay. So if like there's 50 of us using that, $50 goes in, right? It's not that much, but let's just pretend
right.
like we're each paying, I think I pay $13 a month or whatever, but whatever. It goes into a pool, right? And it divides that value among the titles the members listened to over the course of that month. Okay. So basically, if I maybe listen to maybe one or two books a month max. My best friend, on the other hand, she will listen to like four books a month or five. She devours these
Wow.
things. And then her husband, who's also on the same plan, will also listen to like the same or equal amount as she does. So these two are devouring 8 to 10 books a month. Okay. I'm listening to one, but they're getting unlimited. They can listen to as many as they want on that one credit, right? So they're devouring the same amount. So that money is going into a pool, and the pool of authors that are in that pool of books to choose from, they have to divide that money based on the titles that are being listened to. That figure multiplied by the contractual royalty rate, which is their 50% minus plan,
Hmm.
comprises a creator's royalty payment. And if you guys get into the nitty gritty of these contracts, I'm not kidding. The royalty payments from Amazon are so convoluted and varied. There are so many variables that they throw into that sometimes it's to the point where you don't even really understand how you're getting paid. Like it gets so messy and there's so many fingers in the
Oh,
pie,
yeah.
and they figure out so many different ways to kind of divide up that money that it gets really kind of confusing. And like I said, this guy, Daniel, does a great job explaining it. He has a whiteboard. He's amazing. Audible is a home for creators. This is their quote again. And we're focused on
Oh,
both
my God.
existing and emerging voices, working hand in hand with them to make sure content is reaching the right audience. This is very interesting. To enroll in the new royalty model, audiobook publishers can reach out to their Audible contacts or email us US publisher partnership at audible.com. I'm promising you guys that this is not good news. They're going to spin it that it is, but
It is not.
it's
Oh,
like the KU program. And by the way, that I mean, it's just it's it's Audible trying to compete and continue to make money in a market where we've got some very exciting emerging audiobook competitors that are doing a
yes.
very good job at distributing their books to their readers. And one of those is Spotify. I hate to tell you, if you
Hmm.
hate Spotify, okay, I get it. If you are an Amazite, okay, I get it. I myself am an Audible subscriber. I am, but I can tell you, just like Troy, I'm having bad experiences with the music choices. I'm having bad experiences with the fact that I don't always use my Audible credits, and it doesn't feel like I'm ever able to like get in there and actually. It doesn't seem like the value I'm getting for it is good. I don't
Mm,
like that now you're a Prime member, but then you also still have to pay for stuff. It's just like, it's really, really confusing how it's like, I'm a Prime member. Shouldn't I get this for free? Nope, nope. This is a Prime premium. You have to pay more for this. And you're like, I'm already paying,
right.
guys. Like, out the nose. Like, shouldn't I get a credit every month? Nope, nope, nope. So it's really not
Yeah,
for,
no.
it's not for consumers and it's not for the creators. So when I say to my clients, go wide, I'm saying to you that the benefits of going wide are this: you are giving your audience the best chance at consuming your book that you've worked very hard for in their most convenient favorite way. And when you close doors off with exclusivity, when you say that I'm only on Amazon and that person doesn't like to be on Amazon, or they don't read anything from Amazon, or they don't shop there, believe it or not, those people are growing and growing. um,
Hmm.
you're going to find yourself kind of shutting the doors to these people. I know that there's authors out there that kind of poo poo on the idea of even being in bookstores. Well, it's because they don't understand why and when to be in bookstores. Bookstores, again, they're not a, they were a dying breed for a long, long time, but they are kind of having a slow comeback. These indie stores are coming back, and they're fighting back because there's a culture that comes with those bookstores, and people want to be in physical bookstores. And when you want to be in a physical bookstore, there is a method and a way to go about that, but there is also a benefit to that. There is a relationship that you have and you cultivate with those bookstore owners, and that sometimes will help you create and nurture your ecosystem of readers. This is the same thing. When you give
Hmm.
your readers options, you're giving your readers their choice, not your choice on how to purchase your book. And that is a really powerful thing for an author to do for their audience. Consider it your gift to them. Okay. And when you say, well, I'm not making as much money on these other platforms as I am on Amazon, do you tell people about them?
Yeah,
We talked about this. Do
that's
you
number one.
advertise? I mean,
That's
one of the
number
things,
one.
yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that we don't do. I don't do well enough. I don't go on to other people, out there, and I don't advertise. Hey guys, did you know that Troy and I have a podcast? And by the way, did you also know that we're on like any podcast platform out there? We are. We're not just on YouTube. But you know what? I don't. And so when
Hmm.
people don't choose me on another platform, I don't get mad. It's because of me, guys. but but authors,
Yes.
they always tend to get really mad. Nobody's buying my book over there at Barnes and Noble. Are you telling people that you're on Barnes and Noble's website? Are you telling them?
Well, yeah. I mean, this is okay. The whole thing with Amazon is the other thing that Amazon does. Okay, let's be straight about the other thing that Amazon does is Amazon makes it easier to advertise than the other platforms do.
Yep.
Now, to slow that down a little bit, Kobo does and Apple are both coming up with better and better ad platform promotional things that
Hmm.
you can do with them, right? Google Play is also making a comeback in audiobooks. So Google is playing in this area too, right?
Hmm.
So, but Amazon makes it easy to run ads, okay? And their system is pretty dang good. And so it's unfortunately, for an author, it's one of the easiest ways to advertise to people that you know are going to buy, right? Like they're going to buy something,
Hmm.
they're there to buy something. Okay, so it might as well be yours. So, but partly that is our fault as authors because what we've told other retailers is we are not going to advertise you as heavily. I mean, like, and part of the problem is so, like, with my solitaire series that's shorts, right? What is the number one platform that's advertised if you go to the Genius link? It's Spotify, followed by
Hmm.
YouTube, right? And Amazon isn't even on that list because Amazon won't take short audio and do anything decent with it.
Hmm.
And on top of that, what I found out when I released the first 26 episodes altogether is that unless there's a written version of that on Amazon, an ebook of that on Amazon, you can't upload an audiobook. Well,
Right.
the problem with that is these are audio first, right, this year.
Hmm.
So there is no ebook on Amazon that corresponds with that. So I can't do that. right? Until next year, I can't upload that to Audible, right? So people that have Audible subscriptions like, well, that not, but I'm like, every time you get a book, so let's say my book shows up as $12 as an
Mhm.
audiobook, right? But it always shows up as that free thing with Audible
Yeah,
subscription,
which it always
right?
does.
Which it always does. So because nobody's buying the audiobooks from Amazon. But out of that 12 or 13 bucks or whatever it's supposed to be, I'm getting two.
Right.
So like people are like, I listened to your book on Audible, and I'm like, that's great, man. Another $2 in my bank account, right? To go towards the 3,000 that it cost me to produce that audiobook. And by the way, if you're going to produce audiobooks in quality on even with AI audiobooks, it's still going to cost between 500 and $1,000 to have somebody do the right kind of edits to make it decent.
Right.
Okay, just throwing that out there. And so if you're thinking 3 grand is just too much, hey man, that's really not much of anything. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but all right. So um anyway, I can go on that tangent forever, and I'm not going to. But so if you're a reader or like a listener, so like people like Stacy that have Audible memberships, I talk to them all the time and recommend that they not have Audible memberships. So I'm like, first of all, you can go on Chirp or some other audio platform and buy the audiobooks that you're listening to and
Mm-hmm.
own them instead of having them inside the Audible subscription thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could buy five a month for what you're paying for your Audible subscription, or
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 a month for what you're paying for your Audible subscription. And sometimes you're downloading only one. Now, if you are like your friends are, where
Mm-hmm.
you're each listening to 8 to 10 books a month, and so you've got 20 books that a month that you're doing, okay, that is better for you as a consumer. It's still not good for the
It's
authors
not
that
good
you're
for the
trying to
authors.
support, but it's good for you as a
Mm-hmm.
listener, right? But most people that have Audible memberships are not those power listeners.
No, they're not. They're
So,
casual like me.
you would be saving money by buying your audiobooks elsewhere and supporting authors. And I would tell you too that the BookFunnel app and the Chirp app both are as easy to use or easier than the Audible listening apps.
Mm-hmm.
Last summer when Holly and I traveled for a month, we listened to audiobooks, several of them during that trip. Obviously, we
Mm-hmm.
had lots of time on our hands. Um, and all of them were either in Chirp or the BookFunnel app.
Mm-hmm.
And they work great. All of them work great, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of audiobooks now are appearing on podcasts or on YouTube or
Yep.
whatever the case may be, because authors are trying to get them out there to as many different platforms as possible. So you
Exactly.
have options to listen to them. So what that means for you as a consumer is you have options to listen to them
Right.
that actually pay us as authors better than they would if you get them through Audible.
Right.
So
If you're a
it's
supporter of
it's
authors, I
frustrating.
guess the rule is just well, okay, let me start with this. If you're an author and you're like, I want to do audiobooks and I want to make sure that they're paying me the most possible, like Troy said, figure out ways to distribute it in the way that makes the most sense.
To you.
But then
Yeah.
also, you also want to make sure that your books are going to pay you. So having options where if people are going to be very careful about how they purchase the book from you, which you hopefully are creating a fan base that does care about you and wants to support you and continue to help you as you grow your
Mhm.
author business, then you have a place that they can go get those and that will pay you the highest amount of royalties possible. And that's where you advertise, folks. That's where you point fingers
Mhm.
at. You say, get my audiobook here. If you care about me and you want to support me as an author, get them here. Point to that distribution channel. Otherwise, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. The reason why it doesn't always work for authors is because they don't know how to focus their audience to a channel that will make them money. And so they just think that if they just put it out there, it's the old Amazon myth, right? You just put a book out there on Amazon and it's going to make money. And that's just not
Yeah,
how
and
that
it's
works.
not. It's
It's not how it
not. And
works.
audiobooks especially not. audiobooks are not going to make you, and there's so few circumstances where they're actually going to make you money.
Right.
It's a very expensive and good business card, and it's very good to have things in multiple platforms. It's good for your SEO and stuff like that. But it can take years for you to make the money back on audiobooks. Now, that
Right.
doesn't mean they're not worth doing. There's other methods. There's methods to advertise them that a lot of authors, like I, do not do a good enough job of this myself of advertising my audiobook. Right. So there are options out there. There are better ways to get your audiobooks out there and in front of listeners. Um, but it requires effort, the same as getting your ebooks or whatever out there in front of
Mm-hmm.
author or in front of readers. Right. So, man, the whole thing is that nothing, if you don't tell people where it is, they're not going to find it. And the
Mm-hmm.
way to tell people where it is, at least until you build up a following and have a really solid email list, is to advertise.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Plain and simple. I can only get so many sales off my email list, and then I have to advertise.
Right. Right.
That's the way that works. So just bust the myth of thinking you're just going to throw something out there and it's all going to be good. It is not. That is just not
Right.
the way it works.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Oh, goodness.
So
Anyway, oh,
yeah,
what a
so it's a
tangent.
lovely, yeah, lovely little tangent we've been on today, huh? But yeah, I
Yeah.
felt like audiobooks was a big deal. It's something that we haven't really talked about too much on this channel yet.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, well, let me throw a little bit of earnings reality in there
okay.
out there for you, for everyone. So until recently, I had 19 audiobooks out in the world, 18 of them as a part of the Capital City Murder series, and then
Hmm.
Harvested was out there kind of on its own, and paid quite a bit of money to produce that one. But anyway, um, and of those 19, one of them was profitable,
Mm,
and 18 of them were exclusive to ACX.
mm,
And the one that was not exclusive to ACX made more money than probably 12 of those 18 combined.
mm,
So being exclusive, you think being exclusive to ACX has any financial benefit for you, even with this new system? The answer is no, it doesn't. And it is going to bite you eventually. And you're going to regret. I had big regrets about going exclusive with ACX, but it was a 7-year contract. Well, now some of those things are starting to come out of that contract. And I'm really, really excited about that and happy about that. Partly because I want to redo those books anyway and redo that series, but partly also because I don't have to be exclusive to Amazon for them. And
hmm.
that's going to be a game changer financially. Now, in my business model, if I'm making the money back 7 years later, it doesn't even count as a profit anymore, because it's too late. I already lost my shorts. Um, but
Hmm.
it's better than zero. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, and
Anyway.
you guys have to remember too, you're also still just like paper books, just like ebooks, you're still competing as an indie author. You're still competing with all those big publishers that also push and push and push and have more advertising dollars than you do. So, you know, they kind of
Or a
tend to
better
dominate.
strategy.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
a better strategy.
And they do
Yeah.
tend to dominate in terms of the audiobook sphere because they're not only pushing the print book of their books, but they're pushing the audible books, and they're having those audiobooks produced about the same time that they're doing those paperback books because they have the manpower and the dollars to do that. So of course we've talked about the drawbacks of trad publishing before, but if you choose to go trad, there are a lot of variables that even guarantee that you can be part of that. And much like
Hmm.
that exclusivity that comes with being a member of the trad 5, or whatever we want to start calling those big publishers, when you're a member of those
Yeah.
groups,
4,
you're
5,
you're
7,
yeah,
whatever.
you're limited, but you're also limited when you go exclusive as an indie to any platform, but it's specifically with ACX. They are very specific about what kind of uh, content that they push, and they have control
Hmm.
over that. And I remember I told a story a long time ago, and kind of it still ages well, but it's like sometimes I feel like I'm turning into a dinosaur because I tell the story. But way back when Microsoft had their platform for music, I was buying Microsoft music like left and right. Like I had it all downloaded on my phone. Now the Razor, the
Was yours
that,
pink? Did you
oh,
have the
mine was
pink
pink.
razor?
I
Yeah.
loved it. It was like one of my favorite phones in the whole wide world. Anyway, as a mic was a Mitsubishi. No, but what was the brand of that? It was the
Wasn't
M.
Motorola razor,
Motorola,
right?
the Razor.
Motorola.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Favorite
yeah.
phone in the whole world. It was so good. Anyway, nothing gave me more satisfaction than to and then put that sucker in my pocket. Anyway, it was great. But on there I had so much music saved on there, right? Like I had so much music and I loved it. I loved it. Well, then Microsoft Music went by the way of the dodo, and all the music that I purchased went with it, because
Yes.
when you buy stuff on these platforms, you don't own it. You just own the rights to access it on that platform.
Hmm.
So the same is true for books. When you buy books on a platform like Kindle and like Amazon, and you're buying that book and you're buying the rights to use that book or access that book on that platform.
Yeah, you're buying the license to use it
Hmm.
within certain parameters on a certain platform. It's the same thing with movies. If you buy movies on Apple and Amazon, and you think
Hmm.
Apple and Amazon movies will be around forever. Well, we thought the same thing about Microsoft Music,
Music, we did.
right?
Well, I mean,
And
Bill
it
Gates is still in
was,
business, but he got rid of that because why?
well,
It wasn't making him any
and I
money.
mean, truth be told, if you downloaded those onto your phone and you copied them from phone to phone, you might still have a digital copy of those
Maybe,
things. Now,
but
it
I
would probably
did
be pretty
that. And
crappy by then,
well, I will
by
say, yeah,
now,
I did that, but a lot of them got lost because the rights were linked to that with the
with that service.
digital rights management, right? Which was like
Hmm.
they were later adding because, and rightfully so. I am a digital rights management pro person because as a creator, it protects you from piracy to have it linked to those platforms
Hmm.
so that people are accessing the rights and they're not able to pirate that and share it and share it and share it and share it. So you're getting paid. There are pros and cons to that. And the reason I always tell my readers or my authors go wide is because you're protecting yourself in all those different outlets, so that people can get you any way they want to, but you're still also protected from piracy to the best that you can, because there is always going to be that
Hmm.
pirate out there that's more nuanced and capable, but you're still protecting yourself as best as you can by being locked into these platforms that have these um encrypted files that protect you from being stolen from their system. Ultimately though, as a consumer, you have to be aware that when you are supporting your authors, you are doing that in the best way possible by buying them directly from the author.
Yes.
Always. Books, audiobooks, ebooks. If your author that you love and you want to continue to follow throughout their career is selling those books directly to you or giving you a direct option, choose it because it is the best possible way for you to, one, get the access to the book and have it be yours, but also to
Hmm.
support them because they are going to be getting the most possible and biggest possible award royalty for that. So
Right.
just be aware of that.
Exactly. And well, and that's one of the big things is that you own it. Like
You
you
own it.
can download
Mm-hmm.
it. Like you can physically download that and put it on your hard drive. Now you
Mm-hmm.
should do that. Don't put it in a cloud service or whatever and
No.
back it up and all that kind of stuff. Because of course cloud services can go away, yada 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 yada, all that kind of stuff. And it does open us up as creatives to a little more piracy, but there are steps that you can
Mm-hmm.
take, invisible watermarking, invisible
Mm-hmm.
audio marketing, whatever, that actually will let you know if you find it pirated on another site where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I usually do not distribute PDFs by ebooks
Yeah,
anymore.
that's another thing I've started to tell my clients too, is not
Yeah, if you
to
do it
distribute
through
PDFs.
BookFunnel and watermark it with the person's email address in the footer.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It makes it highly discouraging. I mean, they can still, there's things they can still do to get rid of that, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But it does make it much more difficult for them to pirate it without you knowing where it came from,
Right.
you know, that type of
Right.
thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
smart.
that's another
We could
discussion for
talk
another
about that.
day is
Yeah, we could talk
protecting,
about.
protecting your copyright with your intellectual property with DRM and even and things like that when you're selling direct because,
Right.
it is there's problems,
There's
potential
problems.
problems.
Yeah, I mean, and that the biggest one right now is everybody's screaming about AI stealing your stuff, but yeah, just
Yeah,
that's
that's a whole other.
that's
I
a
just
whole
had
other
that
topic.
discussion this weekend and it's
Yeah.
just, you know,
Yeah.
um I mean, essentially, like I say, my thing is they stole our stuff, but they got away with it. And so AI is here to stay. Legal challenges may or may
There's a
not
lot
bear that
of
out in the
there's
future.
a
There's a lot
lot
of
of
them.
this there's a lot of authors out there right now that are just very a lot of readers too that are very anti AI. And I get it. I really do. I get it.
Hmm.
I get it. And I'm not saying I'm very pro AI. I'm just saying that it's like you and I have said before, there's a very good middle ground, and there is a good middle ground here with ACX as well. ACX is a distributor. They are still the biggest
Hmm.
distributor, and you're still by saying I'm not selling anything on Audible, I would have the same argument for putting your book on Audible. I would still be like, well, it is the biggest bookstore. So if you want to be discovered, it might be a good idea to put yourself there just so that you can at
Hmm.
least get seen maybe in somebody's algorithm somewhere. Or, if somebody goes looking for you, you got a bigger SEO footprint, right? But the thing
Right,
is that,
exactly.
it's all about how you put your best foot forward as an author. And I feel like this is one of those situations where it's just another argument for going wide. And I'm not
Hmm.
saying that the audiobook this won't make people some money, especially in the beginning, because again, this audiobook this premium plus thing, it's not guaranteed that if you apply you'll even get accepted, because not everybody's going to be able to be in that pool of books, so you may
Right.
not even get in there.
That's that's the other that's
So
the
you
other aspect of it is you may or may not get in there if they're going to be exclusive like that. They're probably going to be focused on quality. They're also
Mhm.
probably going to be focused on sales.
Yeah, they're going to be
And
focused
so
on
if
that.
you're
And
not
I
driving sales to Amazon,
yep,
they're not going to accept
I
you.
would guarantee that they would probably also have the same kind of um oh gosh, the very much the favoritism that they have for the big publishers as well, that they have in promoting their those books in.
Mhm. Yeah, they have individual contracts with each publisher is the
Yeah,
part of the problem. And part of the other problem is we don't know what's in those
we don't
contracts.
we don't know. We can only
You know,
speculate, but I can say this. It used to be that indie authors could put their books up for pre-order in Amazon, and they got rid of
hmm.
that because the other publishers were like, we don't like that. And there was even a
Yeah,
way that you could get around it for some time, but last year I
yeah. When you're
I
talking physical books,
yeah, and I
yeah, it is.
that went away. So it is definitely something that Amazon is very good about. You better believe they have the highest, bestest lawyers in their pocket to make sure that they're doing everything on the most up and up way, but it is very skeezy if you ask me, because it is
Hmm.
not author centric. It is not author focused. They don't have your best interests at heart. They have the best interests at heart for their company, which is makes sense as a business owner. But when it comes to you as a creator and you trying to stay above water and continue to do this as a business, you need to do what you need to do to make that happen. and it needs to make sense, just like everything else we talk about. So
Right.
that's my final word on
Exactly.
the matter.
Yeah.
Kind of a heavy
I mean, and
topic.
well,
It's like I
here's the
told
other thing
everybody
that,
their dog died.
yeah, I mean, part of this is, so let me end this on a happy note, a positive
Okay.
note, right? A
Yeah, let's do
positive
that.
note. Because that's part of, like, I did a talk this weekend about humanity in this age of AI, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people said it was the most heartening talk that they had heard recently because it's all doom and gloom out there.
Yeah, it's really
People are like,
depressing.
the world is ending, there's going to be no
Mm-hmm.
more authors, and we're just a disappearing breed, and there's no hope, and there's nothing left. And
That
I'm
is not
like,
true.
that is not true. There's a lot left for authors. And AI also offers them some opportunities. So let me just say that yes, Audible is doing their Audible things as they have. But
Mm-hmm.
what that means is that there's opportunities for authors elsewhere. First of all, you have to advertise if you're putting your books elsewhere, but there are options for authors elsewhere. Also, Audible is not forever. Amazon is not forever. Jeff Bezos even acknowledged, and now he's gone, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and he even acknowledged there will be something that comes after Amazon. There will be something that comes after Audible. There will be a next big thing, and we as authors will pivot and ride that wave on that next big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not all hope is lost. Don't get this discouraged thing of, oh, I can't even do this author thing and it's not even possible. Go back and watch your episode with Johnny. Order his book,
Mm-hmm.
The Artisan
That
Author,
is an
right?
author. Mm-hmm.
Order that book and read it and listen
Mm-hmm.
to the things that it says. And the other part of that will help you with discouragement is get plugged in with your author community. There
Mm-hmm.
are stories of hope out there, but in order to hear them, you have to talk to other people rather than listening to the media, because the
And
media
I
reports things that are bad news, right?
I will also say protect your brain a little bit from the book talk and the booktube and the book, all the bookstagrams and all those guys that go out there and just stir the shit basically. There's a lately a lot of stuff is showing up in my Instagram or in my YouTube feed where because I started to follow this one girl that I kind of I liked until I got deeper into her stuff. And she does do a lot of like um I want to liken it to like Hulk Hogan throwing a chair at a bunch of wrestlers. It just feels like there's just a lot of chair throwing going on at authors. And sometimes
Hmm.
sometimes the authors deserve it. I will be really frank. There are some authors that are out there
Yeah.
acting pretty entitled, but on the other hand, these are creatives that are they're not beholden to their readers, but and they shouldn't be beholden to their readers. They're creating something that is it is a gift in a way that creators are creating something and it does take a lot of work and it takes a lot of effort for us to
Hmm.
create anything of value, and that doesn't just fly off the shelves at a rate of a book a month. That kind of quality actually takes time, and sometimes we've talked about this before also, that writers, their muses aren't talking to them the way they want or they hope or they
Hmm.
expect, and their life and their life outside of books takes a turn, and they now their brain is focused on something else, and sometimes that means walking away from maybe a series that they were working on and now they've started a new path
Hmm.
because something else is happening in their head. I mean, it happens a lot, and it doesn't mean that readers have the right to go in there and just bash them all to hell because they feel like, well, they're not doing what I want them to do. It's really kind
Yeah.
of disrespectful to the person that is a human, That is a human
Hmm.
behind the words that you're reading and devouring. It's not, it's like Troy said, it's not AI that's generating these stories, it's a person. And
Hmm.
you must like them for a reason. And maybe instead of
Yeah.
bashing them, you can kind of like go, oh, I wonder what I could do to help and support this person as they continue to grow their platform.
Hmm.
So
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
it's just
I keep coming back to this over and over again at so many different on so many different topics and so many different points in my life. But here's what we as people should do to one another, right? We are called to
mhm,
be unreasonably kind and be kind to people even when they don't deserve it. What that means is
mhm,
if your favorite author is not treating you well by not finishing the series that you would like them to finish, maybe you need to just be kind to them and understand there's probably something else going on. They're probably not doing that to you on purpose. And from the author side of things, just understand that that reader may have a lot invested in you and those characters and those stories may impact them in ways you'll never know or understand.
right.
And so it is up to you to be kind to them as well, and maybe even to just explain to them, hey, this is why this series isn't going forward. I'm sorry that that makes you sad. And I'm sorry if that was a big part of what you like or your existence or your life or your reading life or whatever. I apologize for that, but it's also that's the way that it is. You
Yeah.
know, this is what I'm doing. I've moved on to something else. And just be honest about it. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
be
okay.
authentic and be yourself. I've always told this to the authors that I've worked with is whenever you're creating and helping that super fan become, or that fan become a super fan, one of the things you want to do is always just be open and communicative
Be
with them,
transparent.
because the more you are, the more it welcomes them and makes them feel like, oh, I'm cultivating this relationship with this person and this is great. um and I think that's why Michael Brent has so many
Hmm.
fans, is because in all
Yes.
honestly, he's very, very transparent about his journey and about what he goes through and how he creates these stories and what they mean to him. And in fact, Troy and I oh gosh, I should find it and I'll put it in here, but Troy and I actually were featured in a local news story they did about Michael Brent, because he is just that. He is this transparent, wonderful storyteller who puts his heart and soul into his stories to help him
Hmm.
heal and others. He hopes that the same thing happens for others. And it was really fun to do that for him, but he continues to do that even in his new stuff. He's just
Hmm.
a really fun author. In fact, I haven't read it yet, but I really want to. The I'm tired, so very tired.
Oh
Did you
yeah, I
read
read
that?
that. It's
Did you
yes.
read it? Was it
It's
funny?
really good. Yeah, it's really that's the thing about him is he does have a great sense of humor as well, and it's very identifiable.
Yeah.
Um,
He wrote
one of
that,
his
just so everybody knows, he wrote that during COVID, because he was doing these Facebook posts that were like he was having fights with his coat in a coat rack in the coat closet. He was just like crazy weirdness,
Mhm.
but he would post this fun, weird post that would just talk about how like he might be like losing his mind a little bit. And then at the end of it, he'd go, I'm tired. I'm so very tired. And we were all, I'm sure I wasn't the only one, but I kept saying, you have got to put these in a book. They're so funny. And he ended up doing that, I think. But anyway, I've got to get that book
Mhm.
because it looked so great. I was like so
It's pretty
excited.
funny.
In fact, while
So,
while you're
yeah.
while we're talking about it, I'm gonna do it right now.
Do it right now. Order it right now.
I'm gonna order it right now.
That's funny.
Anyway, so yeah, so what were you gonna say? You were gonna say something?
No,
Do you
I
remember?
yeah, no, I think that was pretty much it. It's just that, I mean, treat each other like people. And I do
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that about Michael Brent. He's very much, he's a great guy. A lot of his books are really amazing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not always, he's what I would call like he's an average to above average writer, except that his characters have so much heart. You have to root for them. So it's amazing. So if you're looking
Yeah.
for like grammatically correct and punctuated perfectly and all that kind of stuff, you don't even have to worry about it.
You don't have to
Anyway,
worry about it. Just read his book
yeah,
for book's
for
sake.
fun.
For book's sake.
Yes.
I'm gonna
for
start
book's
using this
sake.
for book's
But
sake.
yeah,
But anyway,
but yeah,
so yeah, I appreciate you guys being with us on this journey today. This was kind of a rando thing. Troy and I need to, I think you and I need to sit down and we need to figure out like what our next topics are going to
yeah.
be, because I know I wrote
I've got a
down
few things in
somewhere.
mind, but things keep coming up in the industry that kind of are
Yeah,
inspiring.
this
So
one, yeah, this one was
we
very weird.
promise that we will get onto a track, but at the same time, I kind of like to follow some of the things that are happening.
That some of the
Audiobooks
things
is
that are
kind of a big
happening.
thing for authors right now, and
Mm-hmm.
there's all the debate over AI and all the different platforms, and it's good sometimes
Mm-hmm.
just to talk it out.
In fact,
And
yeah, that was another thing. I've got to do an well, I was scheduled, I was slated to talk to these guys in September, and then I got a phone call, not a phone call, but a text message, an email message from Sherry, and she asked me to speak to the MMM group this month. She actually moved it up to the 12th.
mm,
So, but it's the, it's the AI talk. It's the,
yep,
authors wanting to know what's going on with their AI. So, yeah,
yep,
I mean, there we go again, but
always it's a hot
the
topic
worry.
right now.
It's the worry.
Yep.
But anyway, so thanks everybody for joining us, and we will see you again next week. Keep writing.